What's up, family? My name is ElijahAmmi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a grown folk channel. This is where we have heart-to-heart conversations and keep it real. Here on this channel, everybody matters. Everybody's family. Here on this channel, we express love because at our core, we are love. I love you guys, and thank you for being with me on this beautiful journey called life. Peace.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Shana with Balance Wellness, and we have ElijahAmmi here today. And we're talking about a very heavy topic, forgiveness. And I had all the notes and research recordings and information that I could talk about forgiveness. But I think that this time would be better spent if we speak to someone that's living their life in active service, in active forgiveness. And I don't know who's had a chance to check out his website, but if you do, please read his bio and hear his story and how he hasn't allowed what he's been through to cripple him. He's used all that pain as motivation to help other people. And I think that we'd be very beneficial to hear the actual steps of forgiveness in real time, in real life, from a person that's been through it and that is able to smile and laugh now. Through all that he's been through and use what he's been through to encourage others. So I first would like to say thank you again for having me. And also with the forgiveness of what you've been through, what prompted your forgiveness? What gave you that desire to want to start forgiving?
It wasn't me. I was deeply rooted in hate and anger and been a victim. I've lived my whole life like that, growing up. And that was normal for me. And I was a single parent. And back in 95, 96. And I told my daughter to go upstairs and take a bath. And I was in the Air Force at the time down in San Pedro. And my daughter went upstairs. And I went upstairs, I drew the bath water and everything for her. And so I came back downstairs and I was watching something on TV and just studying. And then it was summertime, and all of a sudden I hear like it's raining. And this is summertime. And it never rains in LA, you know what I mean? But it's summertime and I hear like rain. And I'm like, man, I look outside and I can see all the stars. And I was like, what the heck? Where's that sound coming from? Yeah. And so looking around and there's water coming down in the kitchen through the light structures, down the walls, and everything. And I'm in military housing. And the first one thing, oh my gosh, I'm getting screwed because destruction of government property, just everything. So I run upstairs and I get up the stairs. The water's just soaked, the carpet's just soaked on the stairs going on. And I'm yelling, Jocelyn, get up, what are you doing? I'm thinking she's playing in the bath, right? I go in the bathroom door still wide open, light still on, water's just overflowing. My daughter's nowhere in sight. Right? So that nervous panic sound of a single parent, like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Yeah. And my daughter wakes up, oh, what's wrong? You know what I mean? She went upstairs and went to bed. Mm-hmm. And so I was like so hurt, so mad, just so frustrated, let the water out. And I told her, come downstairs. Because in my mind, I'm getting ready to whip her because she didn't listen to me. And in my mind, I don't have the money to fix all this stuff that happened. That's wrong. So I'm downstairs and I'm waiting for her and I'm getting ready with her. And I hear God ask me crystal clear, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm about to beat her butt. She didn't listen to me. It's like, man, look at all this stuff that I'm going to have to get fixed. Just because she didn't listen to me. And God said, how dare you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be on my side, God. Why are you always taking everybody else's side? He's like, how dare you, Elijah? How many times have you messed up? How many times have you messed up with women? And how many people have I had to go in and fix their life just because you were part of their life? How many women have you broken their hearts? How many people have you lied to? How many people have you deceived? How many people have you hurt? Whether it's intentional or not, it don't matter.
Yeah.
How many people have you messed up? And I've had to fix them. And I'm still working on fixing them just because they ran into you. Now you're going to sit here and tell me that you're going to whip your daughter because she didn't listen to you. You don't ever listen to me, Elijah. And I got to constantly clean up your mess. And so when he said that, I was just like, oh my God, man, God, that's not even fair. You know what I mean? How do you come back at God when he says something like that? You know? And so I'm sitting there and I'm broken because God just pretty much beat me. You know what I mean? I'm the one got it with it. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. And now tears are running down my eyes because I'm thinking back about, man, I wasn't always a nice guy. And it wasn't that I was a bad guy. I was just hurt. I had a lot going on, you know, as far as seeing my father murder my mom at the age of 2. You know, crying out to God for guidance and comfort, and a week later getting molested in church, you know, on 2 different occasions. You know what I mean? And so, man, I had a whole lot going on within me emotionally that in the Black community, we didn't talk about these things. You don't talk about molestation in the church in any way. No. You know what I mean? You don't talk about that within your household in any way, shape, or form. You know, and when it's brought up, it's like, well, we're not going to talk about that because we don't want your Uncle Johnny to get in trouble. We don't want Pookie to get in trouble. We don't want him going to prison. And so what they tell us and teach us is, we're going to invalidate your feelings. We want you to suppress all of that you're going through just because we don't want this person to get in trouble. And so you're the victim, but they're protecting the person who caused you the pain.
Yes,
it's true. So you learn to just suppress all of that. And it makes you angry. It makes you feel invalidated, unheard, nobody cares, and all that other stuff. And so I just had a whole lot of issues. And now I'm trying to prove that I'm not homosexual by sleeping with all these women. Because the only way to prove that you're not gay is by being with a bunch of women. And so even though I didn't want to sleep with all these women, I had these internal demons that I had to overcome. And it was like sex had become like a drug. I had to do more and more stuff just to get that same feeling of, okay, I'm cool now. You know, one woman wasn't good enough. Now I got to have 2 women at a time. Okay, that's not good enough. Now I got to have 3 women. Now I got to have 4 women at the same time just to get that same satisfaction of being with one woman. Because any guy can get 1 woman. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Or any guy that with any type of mouthpiece, they can get 2 women. That's nothing. You know what I mean? And so I convinced myself that I had to do more and more. Same thing with drugs. And so when God sat there with me and was talking to me about, man, like, you made a lot of mistakes in your life. A lot of people have gotten hurt because of your issues, because of your unresolved issues. And I've had to go in and work with them. Now you want to sit here as God Almighty and get mad at somebody, your daughter, because she didn't do what you told her to do.
Yeah.
You don't never do what I tell you to do. And there's been a lot of people that's got hurt in the process.
That one. Yeah. That one is, I literally said that today.
And so
that God, who am I to judge other people when I don't necessarily follow everything that God tells me to do? I need to actively forgive. That's interesting that you said that.
Yes. And so that began the process of God really working with me in regards to forgiving, in regards to dealing with my issues. And then there was a situation that came up a few years later. And it's funny how that you think that you're over something. And because you swept it up under the rug or you ignored it, and then something else comes up and you realize, man, I thought I was beyond that. I thought I'd get past that. You know, I thought I moved on from that. And what God is showing you, he's like, no, you didn't. You just ignored it.
Yeah.
You get healed. But all you've been doing is ignoring it the whole time. That's why you keep getting triggered. And so it's like, oh, snap. It's like your triggers are me telling you, hey, there's some stuff you need to do. Hey, you haven't resolved that like you think you have. You got all this studying in, you got all this education, but you still ain't got your stuff fixed. You know what I mean? And so a few years later, I was sitting there and I was talking to the lady that raised me. She was my aunt, and it happens to be my father's younger sister. And she was telling me that my father had threatened to kill her. And I'm done. I'm living with this dude. You know what I mean? He got out of prison, but I'm living with him now. You know, he's in Michigan or somewhere at the time. And I call him up on the phone. And I said, hey, I have a question for you. And I said, did you threaten to kill my aunt? And I said her name. And he was like, yeah, I did, Aunt. You know, you could tell that his chest got puffed up and he was like feeling himself. I said, okay, you so bad bring your ass back to California. Come on back to California. I got a bullet with your name written on it. And he's like, who are you talking to? Who you know, he got up. I said, I don't
They
care
still got that. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you think you are. I said, bring your ass back to California. Let me know that you come back to California. You so bad. You can run through prison and act like Rambo all you want to. Come back to California if you think you're that bad. I'm going to show you how bad you really are. I said, because you killed my mom, and it was you that should have died. I said, but for you to turn around and threaten the only quote-unquote mother figure that I have? Oh, hell no. Bring your ass back to California. I'm going to go ahead and take you out your misery. I'm going to do what your mama should have did. She should have aborted your ass. I know that means I would have never been here, but the world would have never had to deal with your anger and your stupidity. I said, so you bad, just come on back to California.
Yeah.
And so my dad was like, you must not remember why I went to prison. I said, I know why you went to prison, because you're a punk. I said, you must not know who my mom and my daddy is. I said, so I'm not impressed with why you went to prison. Just come back to California and let me know you're here. And so he hung up the phone. And I hadn't talked to my father in years after that, right? And everybody told him that I was going to take him off. Everybody told him, you know, that, because they knew that I saw him kill my mom. Yeah. When I was 2. And they knew that was supposedly going to mess me up emotionally and just have me on dope and everything else. But only by the grace of God that testimony, man. Yeah. But they knew that this moment was going to come where me and him were going to have this heart-to-heart confrontation, and something was going to happen. And it was going to be catastrophic. And so 2015, 2014, my brother out of nowhere just passed away of colon cancer. We didn't even know that he was sick. And so this is like August 2014. I don't completely get over that. And in 2015, February 2015, the beginning of February 1st, matter of fact, we find out that my wife at the time, stage 4 breast cancer. And so I'm just like, God, why do you keep fucking with me? You know what I mean? I'm just hurt. I can't take no more. I can't take no more. It's like, God, everybody that I care about, you taking away. You know, that victim mentality. I still had that victim mentality. And God sat me down and said, Elijah, you're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to grow up. We're going to have to deal with your unforgiveness. We're going to have to deal with some stuff. I've been trying to get your attention and you've been ripping and running, completely ignoring me. We're going to have a heart-to-heart. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, man, why are you taking my wife? He said, Elijah, I couldn't get your attention any other way. I could not get your attention any other way. And why she's going, that's none of your business. But I'm using this to get your attention. This is the only thing that's going to make you sit down and humble you and quiet you so that I can have a real heart-to-heart with you. Knowing that you're going to lose her, man, that's going to make you change. That's going to make you grow up. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. You're asking, it's like, you got to forgive your dad. And it's like, oh, hell no. You ask me anything else other than that. I'm killing that bastard as soon as I see him. And I like I told him, I said, you know what, Dad? I could kill you. I could put a bullet in you. And there's not a court in California that would convict me. I said, because all I'm going to do, I'm going to play the victim role like you've been doing your whole life. My father killed my mom. He went to prison for it. He threatened to kill my aunt. I was scared, terrified, because he's been to prison a number of times. He has no problem with going back. And I was scared for my life. And he came at me and I shot him out of self-defense because I was scared of what he was going to do to me.
Yeah, it's true.
And so God was like, Elijah, you're going to have to grow up. You keep blaming your dad for murdering your mom. You hate your dad. You legally changed your name so that you wouldn't be named after him. You joined the military to get as far away from your family as possible. You can run, but you can't hide. You could change your name. You could do all the stuff you want to do, but your issues, your baggage, your drama and trauma is going to go everywhere you go. And you could fake the funk. You can have all the muscles, all the tattoos, look the robe. But internally, you and I both know what's going on.
Yes.
And so sitting there, I'm like, okay, God, talk to me. You're going to have to forgive your dad. It's going to be hard, but you're going to have to forgive your dad. He said, you keep looking at it like it was a bad thing. And that's why you can't forgive him. You talk about, you know, the scriptures. You talk about you love me. You talk about you believe in me. You talk about you have faith. My scripture, my word says all things work together for the good.
Wow.
Not some things, not most things, all things. That means that I'm in this too. And what you don't understand is that because you went through all that you went through, look at who you've become. Look at who you're becoming. Look at the people you've been able to help.
Yes.
By that time, I'd already been finished working in the prison system as a counselor and able to talk to a lot of guys, men, who have been through similar situations.
Wow.
You know? And because they had went through some of those things, they got on drugs, they got in gangs, they did all kinds of other crazy stuff that ended up down that path. Yeah. You know, and here it is. My whole life I was told that I was going to prison. My whole life I was told, and I was being raised and groomed for that prison lifestyle. And here it is, I'm going to prison on my own as a counselor to help these other guys. You know? Yeah. So God was telling me, was like, Elijah, you can't have a testimony without a test. You got to have a test. And the test sucks. The test hurts. But the test is to make you better. The test is to prepare you for your purpose. The test is to prepare you for your calling. Either you believe in me or you don't.
Right. Yes.
Either you have faith or you don't.
Okay.
You can't. This ain't no part-time thing. You know what I mean?
It's all, you're all in or you're not. Yeah, it's true.
It's either it's real or it ain't. You ain't. You know what I mean? It's like, and so I had to deal with the fact that, man, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. A lot of mistakes. You know, even as a single parent, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes. And none of it was intentional. Yeah. You know, I was doing the best that I could. The best that I could, seriously. You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I still made mistakes. And God had to show me, it's like, Elijah, there's not anybody that's perfect. Everybody has some type of fault. Everybody has some issues.
Yes.
And you're sitting here, and this is the part that really hit me the hardest. Elijah, you're sitting here judging your dad, and you never walked in your dad's footsteps.
Wow.
You don't know the pain and suffering that your dad went through. You don't know what his life was like. You know the story of your grandma and all the stuff that she went through, some of the stuff she went through. You know some of the stuff that you and her grandpa went through, but you don't know everything that your dad went through. You don't know that your dad was molested by a young lady. And that's why he has so much anger and rage towards women. That's why he hates women. The only one that he didn't hate was his mom. But every other woman, he had no respect for. None.
Wow.
So it wasn't a big deal for him to put women out on the streets and to pimp them. He had no respect for them. But you don't know the pain and suffering that he went through. Yeah. And you're sitting here judging him because his sin is different from your sin. You act like just because you haven't done what he's done, that you're better than him. Not in my eyes, you're not. And so when he said that, it hit me. It's like, oh my God. But God, that's not fair. He's like, Elijah, you're still playing the victim. Oh, you're still playing the victim. When are you going to grow up? Every other woman that's come in your life, that the relationship didn't go the way she thought it was it fair to her that she got hurt? Was it fair to her that she got her heart broke because she believed in you? Because she trusted you? Not knowing that you had issues that you hadn't dealt with?
Wow.
And so when he put it like that, it's like, oh, snap. You know what I mean? What can you
Yeah,
do?
you couldn't even, yeah.
You can't
So you
help
say that the first step is so God actually spoke to you. So the first step, but you saw your life, you were doing certain activities that were destructive,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so you said God spoke to you. So the first thing you would say is acknowledging that you need to forgive whatever's happened to you. That's the first thing that you did.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And then,
what's acknowledging what happened to me. The
okay,
first thing for me was to acknowledge the fact that I've made a bunch of mistakes.
that you've made a bunch of mistakes.
And
Yes. Wow. That's profound.
that we all make mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I sit there and look at the fact that, dang, you know what? Every single one of us, we take tests at school and everywhere else. And for most of us, we don't always get 100%.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much you try, no matter how much studying you put into it. If you miss one, if you miss two, if you miss 3 out of 500, you still made some mistakes.
That's true.
It don't matter if he gave you a 98 or 99 on your test. Mm-hmm. You still made some mistakes. Yes. You're not perfect. And so when I came to that realization, it's like,
that's a big one.
Yeah. And so it was like, all right, so how do I get over the fact that, man, I got to forgive these people who molested me too? And God brought me back as a kid. He was like, Elijah, when you were 6 years old, you told me that you wanted to die for me. And I told you I don't want you to die for me. I want you to live for me. Dying is easy. Living is hard. If you want to show me how much you love me, Elijah, don't die for me. Live for me.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, he brought that back to my remembrance. He said, Elijah, I asked you to live for me. You were going to go through all the hell that you went through. Why? To prepare you. It's not about you. It's so that you can help so many other people that are going through what you went through. So you can be a big brother, a big sister, a role model, a mentor to people that are going through stuff that they don't have any outlet, don't have any way of dealing with it in a healthy way. You could stand before them and show them, hey, I don't know everything that you're going through. I can't say that I've experienced that, but I've experienced a lot of pain and suffering. I've experienced a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma, a lot of drama. And this is how I made it out. Mm-hmm. And then when you share that, you realize that, man, there's other people that have gone through more than what you've gone through. You know, and there's people that have gone through less than what you've gone through, who've committed suicide, who are stuck on drugs, who are on the streets, and their mind is shot, it's gone. It ain't never coming back.
It's true.
And so when you sit there and you look at it, God is telling you, I preserved you that whole time. Because it's not about you. It's because of what I'm going to do with you in your life. But I can't do that as long as you're sitting there mad and angry and playing a freaking victim.
Yeah.
Not willing to forgive these people. Mm-hmm. It hurts. It's going to hurt you. But over time, you'll wake up one day and you won't even remember when you forgave them. You'll just know that, man, I forgave them. And I don't even remember the time or the day that I forgave them. Every day, you're going to have to get up and acknowledge the fact that you made some mistakes.
Every day. Okay. So every day you wake up and you acknowledge the fact that you've made mistakes. That's the first step. Okay. You're not perfect.
I'm not perfect.
You've hurt many people that didn't deserve it.
Yes.
Okay.
And neither is anybody else. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. So stop judging people because they make mistakes that are different from your mistakes. You know what I mean? If
a good one. That's a really good one.
And you get tested, you get question number 10 wrong, but I get that one right. But you get number 5 right, and I get that one wrong. I don't look down on you because you got this one wrong and I got it right. You know what I mean? And so when God was talking to me about this, like, man, you got to grow up. You have to grow up. And you're not God. Mm-hmm. You're not God. So you're not going to be perfect. Yes. Why do you think you have to be perfect? And so that was the next thing, was we feel like we have to be perfect. We feel like our parents are supposed to be perfect. The people that are in our lives that hurt us and cause us, we have this unreasonable expectation of them of being perfect. They should have known better. They should have did better. They should have protected me. They should have. We have all these expectations of them. And we forget the fact that they're human. And we don't understand what they were going through.
Right.
And so it's easy for us after the fact to look at them in judgment, not knowing the choices that they had, not knowing what their psychological state of mind was, not knowing whether they were on drugs, if they were, we have no idea what these people are struggling with. But we sit back 10, 15, 20 years later, mad at our parents because of the way they raised us, and mad because they didn't give us this, or mad because they did this, and we're in judgment of them, and they're like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? And so the first thing was, man, acknowledging that I'm not perfect, acknowledging that I made mistakes. And even though my mistakes wasn't intentional, I still make mistakes. And the byproduct of that was people got hurt.
Man.
People got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I had to acknowledge that, man, other people have issues too. Other people have things that they're struggling with that they don't talk about. Just because they don't talk about their issues don't mean that they don't have issues.
Yeah.
So why am I demanding and this is this is crucial. God asked me, why are you demanding your father to be perfect when you yourself are incapable of being perfect?
Exactly.
You put this expectation on your dad to be perfect, to live this perfect life.
Yes.
And you can't be perfect. You're not perfect. You're a hypocrite. And when he said that, it was like, oh my, you're doing too much, God. You didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? You didn't have to say it like that. You know what I mean? But it's just a reality. We have to get stuck with reality every now and then for us to humble ourselves and come to the reality that, man, you know, I've done some things that I probably said some things that I probably should have. And some people probably got hurt in the process. You know what I mean? There's not no problem. Some people did get hurt in the process.
And people too that didn't deserve it.
That did deserve it. And now they're walking away and God's having to fix their issues.
Based on what? Oh my God.
Based on what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like God had to fix me, help me deal with my stuff based on the stuff that my father did, based on the stuff that these other guys did to me. And so when you realize that you're not perfect and nobody's perfect, and we're all going to make mistakes, it humbles you.
I'm being humbled right now. Being humbled right now. I've actually, like, it's so ironic that you're saying to remind yourself that you're not perfect, because I require, you hear the word I use? I require so much from people around me, and I fall short in so many areas. And it's this idea that you have to be perfect. You have to walk around with your interview face and your interview outfit and your interview personality, and you're still falling short, and you're still making mistakes, and you're still hurting people. And when you really sit and it's the same thing that happened to you. God spoke to me and said, you know, you're expecting all this perfection, and then you're coming to me asking for forgiveness for the mistakes you make. Which one is it?
Yes.
Which one is it? Are you like, you can't be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, and you have to forgive other people. If you want to be forgiven by me, if you come to me for forgiveness when you really hurt someone and you're really, really broken about it, that same level of humility, that same level of brokenness, have that extend that to other people, and really let yourself like accept them and love them. Yeah. To realize that that's so amazing that you said that you were able to forgive him just because you realize that you're flawed too. Yeah. So that's something that I really can resonate with. Yeah. That's actually happened recently to me. So it's funny that it's being spoken about now. Yeah.
And the other thing is, like what you're saying, is we go to God all the time hoping to be forgiven. Right. And at the same time, we have all this animosity and bitterness and resentment and unforgiveness in our hearts to people that's done stuff to us years ago. You know what I mean? Years ago. But now we're expecting God to just, oh God, don't even trip. Just, it wasn't that big of a deal, God. Just wipe that clean for me real quick, and I'll be on about my business, and we just keep it moving. You know what I mean? And God is like, no. Sit your blankety blank down. We're gonna have a real heart to heart. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're minimizing
what I did, because what I did, I didn't mean to. You know me, God. You know, I didn't mean to do that. But look what he did to me. Yeah, that's so. Oh my gosh, that one is. I need to take that for a second.
Yeah.
That's a heavy one.
And so he was like, "You're minimizing," and this is what we always do. We minimize our shortcomings, and we blow up everybody else's shortcomings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't do one little simple thing, and man, we're ready to go to war. You know?
Yeah.
And God is like, sit down, shut up. You know?
Right. Do you know? Right. Oh my gosh. It's getting a little hot.
Yeah, it is. I'm all sweating those lights.
Like, this is crazy because this exactly. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I didn't mean to, so let's not talk about it. Let's just brush that under the rug.
Yeah.
And you're just running around like hell on wheels, and and leaving all these bodies in your wake, and then you're literally bringing something from 20 years ago, rehashing it over and over again, holding that person's feet to the fire when you have a standard for someone else that you don't even hold for yourself.
Yes.
When you have all these requirements for others and you don't even require that for yourself. You want to be accepted. You want to be allowed to be who you are and forgiven for everything you do. But if you ask me to forgive, well, I'm so angry. How can I? And when you say grow up, yeah.
And so check what God was doing. He was like, look, Elijah, you're going to have to grow up. And not only are you going to have to grow up, you're going to have to deal with some stuff. Mm-hmm. And part of your healing is learning why you're a control freak. See, because we take on this control freak mentality. Mm-hmm. And this is the reason why we expect other people to be perfect. Because we've been hurt in our past and we've done things and we had no control over it. And so now that I'm a grown man, ain't nobody violating me. Now that I'm a grown man, ain't nobody disrespecting me. Now I'm a controlled man. Everybody gonna do what I say do. You know what I mean? Because I'm not getting hurt no more. When I was a kid, I couldn't control what happened. Now that I'm a grown man, as a kid, I couldn't control what my mama did. I couldn't control what my dad did. I couldn't control what my aunt did and how she raised us. I couldn't control anything. But now that I'm a grown man, I'm controlling everything.
Everything in my life. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm not getting betrayed again. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not getting used again. And God was like, man, you got issues. You got major issues. You know, we don't realize how deep our issues run.
Yeah.
We think we're okay, you know?
Until you're sitting in a Zoom call with someone that has some more experience than you. And you're like, wait a minute. I think I need to listen to what he has to say about forgiveness, because I thought, like you said, I thought I had it all figured out. And then I start to see like the forgiveness thing, expecting so much from everyone else. And I'm brushing what I do under the rug. That's a really big thing. And it's so interesting to hear that that's how you started to start your forgiveness. So did you do affirmations? Did you work out? What were the processes after? So you said you wake up every day and you start to actively forgive. I forgive this person for what they did to me. And then after that, what was the next step?
After that, honestly, it was easy. That was the easy part. All that, forgiving my dad, forgiving the people that molested me, all that stuff was easy. The hard part of forgiveness is what we really don't talk a whole lot about, is when you have to learn how to forgive yourself. See, because for me, forgiving other people, oh man, that was easy. You know what I mean? After God had this conversation with me and we went through all that, that was easy for me to forgive that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's like, okay, you did good. You did good. I'm proud of you, Elijah. Give me a little pat in the back. He's like, now we're going to go to the next level. Now you're going to learn how to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, forgive myself for what? And I'm okay. And he's like, no, you're not. And so he starts bringing all these things back to my remembrance of how I keep beating myself up. How when I go to bed at night, I replay every single thing that I said. Everything that happened throughout the day, I replay it. Everything. Man, I should have did this. Man, I should have said this. Man, if it come up again, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? And it's like, no wonder you can't get any sleep. No wonder you are stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're sitting there replaying everything because you can't forgive yourself. You can't let this stuff go. You're still expecting and demanding you to be perfect, even though you know you're not perfect.
Wow. It keeps going back to that perfect. Yeah.
It's like, why do you do that, Elijah? He said, you do that because you got unresolved issues. You do that because you still need to be validated. You do that because you still need to feel accepted. And so you expect yourself to be perfect so nobody has anything to say about you. Nobody can say anything negative about you. Because you still need to feel validated. You still need to feel worthy, and you don't feel worthy. And so you feel like the only way you're going to feel worthy is by being perfect, but you're never going to be perfect. So you're constantly setting yourself up for failure. And so when you make a mistake, you beat yourself up over that mistake. You terrorize yourself. Man, nobody could beat me up like I beat myself up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody could put me down like I put myself down. You know what I mean? And that's because it was so hard for me to forgive myself. Because I didn't know how to love myself.
Yes.
And that's the key, is loving yourself. Because when you don't love yourself and you feel like you're not worthy, you feel like you're a failure, you feel like you're a screw up, you feel all these negative things that you've heard, that's just who you are. You know what I mean? You don't expect anything out of yourself for that. You know, when you feel like that.
Yeah.
So when you start loving who you are and you start growing, it's like, man, I don't have to be so hard on myself. Man, if I make a mistake, man, I miss 4 out of 300. Man, big deal. It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? If you want to go back and look at those answers for those 4 questions, by all means, Elijah, but you're being retarded right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, yeah.
Be happy that you got an A. Be
on
happy
it.
doing this 4. Learn to look at the big picture. But so many of us, we look at the one thing that somebody do wrong, the one thing that we mess up on. They could have did everything else right. We forget one thing, and we're just like, we're all over that one mistake. It's the end of the world because of that one mistake. And it's like, forget everything else that they're bringing to the table. Forget everything else that they've done for you. They
So
made
true.
one mistake, and you're ready to chop their head off in the relationship, and everything else. They don't love you, and just all this stupid stuff, you know.
I mean, it's so, there's actually, I think this was some of the research that I did about Carl Rogers, and he says you should have unconditional positive regard towards yourself and unconditional positive regard towards others, and realize that everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect. They're actually trying to quantify perfectionism as a mental health disorder and have it placed in the diagnostic and statistical manual, the DSM-5 for psychological disorders. Perfectionism. They're trying to find a way to measure that and quantify that, because it really is. It's an illness.
It's an illness, but that illness is based on other illnesses.
Right.
That illness is not really an illness. It's an effect.
Byproduct. Right.
It's a byproduct of other illness. You know what I mean? It's a side effect.
Yep.
That's the word I was looking for. It's a side effect of underlying issues of low self-esteem, needing to be validated, needing to feel loved, and all this other stuff. Because you have all these other issues, now you have this perfectionism. Because you have all these low self-esteem, you have this great depression, suicidal thoughts, and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? These are all byproducts of underlying issues.
Yes. What you've been through. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh my God. So I'm glad that I didn't go through all that other stuff and actually listen to what the biggest takeaway that I got. And I think that I'm going to apply this to my life is that no one is perfect and I'm not perfect. And I have to practice self-compassion. That's really important, to have compassion for yourself and realize that you're not perfect. And the same grace that you extend, that you want God to extend to you, extend it to others, extend it to yourself. Oh my goodness.
And that's a part of love. That's all a part of self-love.
Yeah.
Of learning to fall in love with you. You know, you're talking earlier, you mentioned the word unconditional. And it's amazing how we talk so much about love. But love is really unconditional.
Yeah.
There's only one type of love, and that's unconditional love. And so many of us talk about love and say, I'm in love and I love this person, but all that love is conditional. It's all based on if they do certain things. If your husband starts cheating on you, I don't love him no more, I'm done. You know, if this person can't come through on something that they promised you, I'm done. I don't love that. They don't love me. And So we have all these issues and attachments and just crazy stuff that we throw at people because of our own issues. And then we have all these expectations that we place on everybody else. And so many of us, we, that are quote unquote professional, we live this life of trying to be so stoic and just so professional and just so, I got my stuff to credit. To credit. I got my stuff together. My credit is such and such, and I got such and such amount of money saved up, and I got such and such an education, and I drive such and such a car. We have all these stupid things that makes us who we are. We use these things as valid, I can say the word. I can't talk right now. As validation of our worthiness to be loved, to be accepted.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you gotta let that crap go. That's killing us. And one of the greatest things that I've learned with unforgiveness is that when you don't forgive, man, there's so many things that happen to your body.
Yeah.
They say that cancer is from breast cancer in women is from unforgiveness. And so when you look at the fact that, man, unforgiveness is not releasing all of this negative energy.
Yeah.
And so what happens is it's like a dam or a volcano. It just keeps building up. And at some point it's going to explode.
It's to go somewhere. Yeah.
It has to go somewhere. And so if it doesn't explode coming out of your mouth and you become violent or on a rage, it's going to happen internally. And that's where dis-ease comes from.
Yes.
And so there's so many benefits to forgiveness, to just forgiving people and just stop being so self-righteous and so judgmental to where, man, we're sitting up on our high horse looking down at other people because they did whoopie, and that's beneath us. And even though we've done similar things, you know what I mean?
Yes. So you would say that someone that's struggling with forgiveness, they should take a look at themselves and see what the role they played in other people's lives. If there's anything they need to ask for forgiveness for.
Yeah, most people, they're not going to start at there, because when you think about it, they've made themselves to be the victim for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's never my fault. It's always somebody else's issues, always somebody else's fault. The whole world's out to get me. The whole world hates me. All these guys treat me like crap. All these, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so the first thing I would say when you want to look at forgiveness and just be completely honest and genuine about forgiveness, because a lot of people talk about I forgive you, but they really don't forgive you. They say I forgive you in words, but their actions don't support it. Their emotions don't support it. You know what I mean? It's like saying, thank you. I say thank you and I don't even really mean it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying thank you because I'm supposed to say thank you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Polite.
Yeah. But forgiveness is deep. Forgiveness is an action. It's an emotional release.
Okay.
And so many of us, well, I'm not going to forgive them because they never asked to be forgiven. Well, they don't need to ask you for forgiveness. You have to forgive them because you want to forgive them. You have to forgive them because it's not even about them. You don't want all that negative energy building up inside of you. And so for me, it's like it's easy for me to forgive. Because again, I understand energy and the flow of energy. Oh, yeah. And so when you don't forgive, you're blocking that flow of energy. If that's making sense. And so absolutely. Like, okay, I want to be completely balanced in everything that I do. I want to be able to flow in my purpose, in my calling, and the only way that you could do all those things is to be completely transparent.
Yes.
And be completely transparent is like, man, I'm an open book. I've made mistakes. I use my mistakes to help others.
Yes.
And empower them to let them know, man, you could talk about your mistakes. It's okay. Yeah, some people are going to judge you, but that's their issue. That has nothing to do with you.
That's so true.
We're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect.
Yeah. I know the last video we did, people were like, "Oh, I didn't know you struggled with issue." I said, I'm sure you probably do too. You're just not sharing it. Yeah. Everyone has a cross to bear. Everyone has, and I think that's something I'm going to apply to my life. Start to actively pay attention to when I'm holding on to any grudges, and then try to find places in my life that where I've made mistakes too, and realize that no one's perfect, and that forgiveness is a daily active thing that you have to always practice. If you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive other people.
Yes.
That's a really profound. That's really profound.
Yes. You know, it's interesting. For me, I grew up in a lot of my, I can't say grief, but I have religious people that attack me more than anybody else on social media and everything, you know. And I've struggled with that for like a long time, you know, with coming from Christians, people that don't know me, but they're just, you know. And so what God had to show me is like, Elijah, you reap what you sow. Still talking about forgiveness.
Yeah.
He's like, you reap what you sow. It's like, what are you talking? God, I didn't ask for these clowns to come off the woods. What's up with this? I didn't ask for all of this. He said, Elijah, you reap what you sow. This is karma. It's like, what are you talking about? Elijah, unforgiveness is standing in judgment of what you don't know. And so when you have all these people coming out and attacking you, and they don't even know you, they don't know anything about you, they don't know what you stand for, but just because you said something that they don't like, or you said something that they don't understand why you said that, or whatever the case may be, now they're attacking you. Why are they attacking you, Elijah? Because you need to know how it felt when you were judging and attacking other people that you hadn't forgiven.
Wow. So you acted. So forgiveness for you is every day. So you see forgiveness in every single aspect of your life. Anytime that any challenge is you're met with a challenge, you look at it as a way to forgive. So even the comments that you receive or anything that comes to you from a negative aspect, you're able to turn around and say, this is a lesson for me.
Yes. Because one thing that I've learned is there's always a lesson and a blessing in everything.
Okay.
In every situation, there's a lesson. And if you
a blessing
and learn the lesson, then you'll receive the blessing. You know what I mean? And
yeah, of course.
And so what I had to realize, like, okay, man, every time somebody comes out and they're attacking me and they're saying this and they're doing stuff and they hurt me or they betrayed me, whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, God, what is the lesson? And so now I'm no longer fearful of going through things. It's like, no matter what, man, bring it on. I'm good. You know what I mean? Because it's all going to work out for me. So it doesn't matter what goes on. It doesn't matter what they do. None of that stuff matters.
Yeah.
Because it's all going to work out for me. None of that stuff matters because I'm going to learn and grow through it. It's to help me. And the only reason why God is allowing this to happen is to teach me something.
I like what you said, allowing this to happen.
Yes.
Why God is allowing this to happen. We're not in control of everything or anything. Yeah. Why is God allowing this to happen, and who is it going to help, and what will be the blessing in this pain and the lesson?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's heavy, but it's good though. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think that this was so helpful for so many people. I think it's going to touch a lot of lives, where people that are struggling with pain and unforgiveness. I also am a big advocate for therapy or coaching. Like, I think that if you're having trouble, if you need that one-on-one time, if you've been dealing with this for 20, 30 years, you need to talk to someone, because not everyone's going to have the experience like you had, where God actually speaks to you and you're able to see the unforgiveness in the way that you were treated, the situation with your daughter. So I think that having a coach or a therapist actually help walk you through these steps is really, really important for people that are really struggling with unforgiveness.
No,
thanks for sharing your story, man. That's amazing.
But that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
That's why we're all here, is to grow up, grow through all of our trauma and drama, and
yep.
become a beacon of hope, a beacon of love, and a beacon of light for those that are coming behind us. So,
yeah.
Thank you for this interview. Thank you for your time and your energy.
Thank you so much.
A beautiful energy about you. So I just thank you for the knowledge and all that you're doing for your community. Man, I salute you. Seriously, I do.
No, I thank you for this time. And it's like, it kind of corresponds with things that like literal conversations about forgiveness that I had today. about,
about my son. I said, it might be a lesson in why it might be something that I need to learn from this situation to humble me. And I'm wanting him to be perfect when I'm so imperfect. I pray every night for forgiveness, and I'm expecting my son to be perfect and do everything the right way. And I can't even do that. And I'm almost 40 years old. And so how can I expect a child? It's so funny how things in your life mirror what you need to learn. And I'm learning, I'm listening.
And the crazy thing with that is just that expectation on our kids.
Yeah.
Can be so nerve-wracking. You know what I mean? You're talking about your son, and I remember my oldest son. He's just always biting his nails. Just always, down to the nub, And it's like, dude, why you bite your nails like that? He's like, oh my God. And what God had to show me is, Elijah, your son's nervous. I was like, I know, he's freaking weird. Why is he nervous like that? He said, Elijah, because the expectations that you have, you want this kid to be perfect. Because you never had a father figure in your life. You want somebody, you're going to make sure that you are everything that you never had. And it's almost overbearing. Back up, let the kid breathe. Let him relax, let him enjoy life. He's not going to be you. He's not perfect. He's not going to be perfect. You're not perfect. But this kid wants to make you so happy. This kid wants to make you so proud. But he's so nervous.
Wow.
Because he doesn't think he's capable of living up to your expectations. And it's like, Elijah, you got to tell your kids that you've made mistakes. You got to tell your kids that you've had major failures. To let them know that they don't have to be perfect. To let them know that it's safe to make mistakes. Just do your best and learn from those mistakes. Don't keep making the same mistakes, because now it's not a mistake. It's willful ignorance. It's willful stupidity now. You know what I mean? But you have to become transparent. You have to. So many kids are traumatized from parents loving them. Loving them too much to where they have to be perfect. They got to be great. You know what I mean? And that parent just wants the best for their kid. That parent has all the best intentions in the world, but they're effing up their kid. You know what I mean?
Funny you mentioned that. I tell them, do this, but I never tell them, oh, I want you to do this because I struggled in school in this area. And that's exactly why I'm so hard on them with education. Because I struggled with certain areas in my education. And it took me a while to get, to feel like I, accomplished what I needed to. And that's why I'm like, you're not going to be this age getting your degree. Oh no, you're going to have, that's so interesting. Wow. I'm going to ease up. Thank you for this free coaching session.
No, you're good. But that's what life is all about, though. You know what I mean? Life is about us communicating. And one of the things that we don't do enough of is talk. Have real heart-to-heart conversations.
And people don't like to listen.
Yes. And people don't like to listen because it's a trigger for their issues. And they don't want to deal with their issues. And so that's why we smoke so much. That's why we drink so much. That's why we always have on crazy music, the TV, all these other things.
Forget.
Yeah, distractions, But we don't have heart-to-heart conversations in that to where, because I don't know what you're struggling with. You don't know what I'm struggling with. I don't know where you're at emotionally or anything. If we could just be kind to each other. You know what I mean? If we could just show each other compassion.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if that person is contemplating suicide. We don't know if that person's on the edge of just, man, forget it. I've tried my whole life. Nobody accepts me. Everybody's constantly putting me down. Everybody's picking on me. Everybody's saying I'm a screw failure. Man, let me just end it all. You know what I mean? And so, but people are taking guns and just shooting up places. You know what I mean? There's so much craziness going on. So many people are committing suicide because, again, this pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It is.
This pressure that we live with. And if we just talk to each other, and it's amazing how that when you look at the majority of the people that commit suicide, it's weird how nobody knew that they were there.
Yeah.
How do people that close to you, your family, not know you're on the edge like that?
Yes.
Because we're not talking.
Marco, I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm fine. Everything's fine. I've got it all figured out. Yes. No, you don't.
Yes. And what that shows me is that we don't trust each other enough.
No, because we've been hurt. Because we've been hurt.
Because we've been hurt. And so we as healers, we as therapists, we as life coaches, we as parents, we have to provide an ambience, an environment to where our kids feel comfortable enough to come talk to us.
Yes.
And open up and share their deep feelings and their thoughts and their fears. Because as long as we're expecting them to be perfect and we're so good, we got all of our stuff together, as long as we're expecting them to do like that, they're not going to open up and talk to you because they don't want you to see them less than. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They don't want you to have a bad opinion of you.
You don't want to come talk to the judge about when you make a mistake. You're a judge. You're sitting in judgment of your children.
Yes.
You're sitting in judgment of everyone in your life instead of taking inventory of yourself and doing. You know what it is. You're so busy pointing the finger at everyone else, so you don't have to point it back at yourself.
Yes.
And do what you need to do to heal. Yes. That's what it is. It's easier to say, "Oh, look what they did," instead of looking in the mirror and seeing what you need to fix.
And because we minimize what we do. Because at least I'm not like them people. And it's crazy because when I worked in the prison, and I never understood this, these guys watch every soap opera.
Wow.
It's like life came to a stop when General Hospital, As the World Turns, Guiding Light, and all these other stupid soap operas came on TV. Everything shut down. You know?
That's strange. Yeah.
Grown men.
They got to watch their stories. They got to watch them.
Hey, but then on top of that, every time cops came on, that was mandatory. It's like, you guys are in prison because of stupid stuff like this. Why do you guys want to watch other people do stupid stuff on TV and get arrested?
Right.
Oh, just to see if one of my homies out there and just so I can see that people are stupider than I am. And it's like, oh my God, but this is real.
And the point.
This is why reality shows are so popular and all over the place. Jerry Springer and all these other stupid stuff that's on, because people want to feel like, well, I'm screwed up, but at least I'm not as screwed up as them.
So true. That's so true. But I stopped watching all that stuff. But that's very, very true. No, I can't watch reality anymore. Yeah. Not when I have to keep myself like very centered.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you want to talk about in regards to forgiveness? Because it could go so much deeper, but maybe that's for a different time.
I think I pretty much got like the steps for forgiveness and what, actively what people can do. And then of course they can reach you for coaching, or, if they have a therapist they can talk to. But if you see things in your life that keep on reoccurring, that's probably unforgiveness. Yeah. If you have anger that you can't figure out why, if you're very controlling and a perfectionist, those are usually you said symptoms of unforgiveness. So just be really careful and pay attention to how you're moving through life, and really start to notice if there's something inside of you that you might need to address, so that you no longer have to live in pain, because you don't have to live in pain. He's living proof that, if you have the right mindset and you do the work, you can have a very, very successful and rewarding life, giving back to others. And through what you've been through, blessing other people's lives and healing so many people. So it's an amazing, amazing testimony. And thank you for being a servant and being obedient to the call on your life, because that's also difficult. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I salute you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey family, we're going to change the world, one person, one heart, and one mind at a time. We have to be the bridge that takes people from their darkness, their pain, their trauma, and ignorance to a place of peace, love, joy, and gratitude. Check out my website, ElijahAmmi.com. I love you guys. Happy healing.